Pre-Palestine acceptance speech from Hannah Einbinder. I know. I'm going to talk about that.
I'll pay the difference. Sorry. Finally, I just want to say, finally, go Birds, fuck ICE, and free Palestine. Thank you.
She's awesome. And then she was asked about it as well after the fact. Go Birds, Jalen Hurst forever.
When you were up on stage, you talked about Palestine, and I know you signed a pledge, too. Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah. So, well, I thought it was important to talk about Palestine because it's very dear to my heart. I have friends in Gaza who are working as frontline workers, as doctors right now in the north of Gaza to provide care for pregnant women and for school children, to create schools in the refugee camps. And it's an issue that's really close to my heart for many reasons. I feel like it is my obligation as a Jewish person to distinguish Jews from the state of Israel because our religion and our culture is such an important and long-standing, basically like institution that is really separate to this sort of ethno-nationalist state. And in terms of the pledge, it's like many movements, boycotting is an effective tool to create pressure on the powers that be.
I promise you she's awesome. I bet she is. She's awesome.
To meet the moment, you know. So the Film Workers for Palestine boycott does not boycott individuals. It only boycotts institutions that are directly complicit in the genocide. So yeah, it's important to me, and I think it's an important measure, and so I was happy to be a part of it.
On God, we're gonna have Hannah Einbinder on the show for sure. Okay. Also, people are very mad. Classic. If you're wondering what Hannah Einbinder's red hand pin is all about, is glorifying terrorist Aziz Salha, whose hands were bloodied from lynching two Israelis. I couldn't agree more with my wife. We're never watching Hacks. Hashtag Emmys. Now, once again, Zionism is a brain disease. I mean, it just is. Because here is this person from Toronto who, I don't know what his background is. I suspect he's not like, he didn't get like any sort of, like he's not Jewish. And obviously Zionism is not a purely Jewish phenomena as is the case here, right? Like the entire position here, but it's oftentimes presented as such. But here you have a dude who is from Toronto and not Jewish, yelling at a Jewish actress, yelling at a Jewish woman for saying that like Judaism and Zionism are not, they should not be conflated, that the ethno-religious project of Zionism is fascist, it's wrong, Judaism is a religion. Meanwhile, this guy's like literally posturing as though he's the guy who's the defender of Israel here. It's just, he's a Canadian politician who sexually assaulted a girl and got removed from Liberal caucus. He's a liberal. Oh my God. You can have that one too. Another export for you guys. I don't want that. Can Canadians just keep their freaks up there north of the border, please? Don't put that evil on us, dude. We already have enough. Yeah, Hollywood Reporter wrote this insane article. No, Hannah, that wasn't brave. Guest column. True courage would have meant calling for peace, for coexistence, for the humanity of both Israelis and Palestinians, even if it risked boos instead of applause, writes Israeli activist Hen Mazik. Of course, Hen Mazik wrote this article. Don't know why he gets any play whatsoever still at this point, but it is what it is. Anyway, but yeah, of course, she never let a good deed go unpunished. You know, Hen Mazik, sponsored by the Tel Aviv Institute, Mr. I'm going to defend Israel's Zionism, but I'm going to also try to do it in a way where like it's palatable to liberals. That's his entire point. That's the reason why he gets this kind of coverage. As a queer Jew, son of refugees from Iraq and Tunisia, Berber, who has dedicated my life to fighting anti-Semitism, I read Hannah Einbinder's Emmy night comments with sadness and fear. This was the response immediately. Yeah, shut the up is right. Exactly. Exactly. And I'm glad that people are just, people recognize that how stupid and indecent this shit is. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. as much as I would love to shit on Israel as I do every day for valid reasons, I'm sorry, but that seems a lot like an invalid reason. Okay. And I'm not even saying this as someone who is a firm and committed believer that there wasn't something suspicious or mysterious going on here. Like that could potentially be the case. There's always some going on. Look what he said on Javier. What did he say about Javier? What drives me crazy is privileged, detached celebrities think they're being brave and stunning, but parroting the most popular slogan in Hollywood, throwing on a pin, or cosplaying a Jordanian scarf is the safest thing you can do. That's why they all do it. Yeah, definitely. Famously easy thing to do in Hollywood is be openly pro-Palestine. This was Javier's quote about not working with Israel. Yeah. This is
a company that you're going to go into business with is in business with Israel. What do?
I won't work. I cannot work with somebody that's justify or support the genocide. I can't. That's as simple as that. And we shouldn't be able to do that in this industry and in any other industry. Today in Madrid, in Spain, the cycle, La Vuelta, the bicycle tour, it was stopped by thousands and thousands and thousands of people on the streets marching, saying we can't allow the team of Israel being in this tour, so it's whitewashed. No, the world has changed, and what we are witnessing is a genocide, as I said in your show, in 4K alive on a daily basis. This has to stop.
What the does he want these celebrities to do? Join Hamas? I mean, they already think that these celebrities have officially and spiritually joined Hamas, if not literally joined Hamas, for their anti-Israel sentiment. Remember? That's what they're saying about me as well. They've been hitting that note nonstop. Meanwhile, this is Paramount's response to the boycott. Paramount has spoken out against filmmakers for Palestine for boycotting Israel and the industry protests of a Palestinian genocide. They stated that if it feels wrong to silence individual creative artists based on their nationality, it feels wrong. Nothing to say about Israel silencing Palestine's creative artists based on their nationality, Paramount? I mean, yeah. Someone says examples. Israel's committing a genocide. It's the ultimate silencing. It's just like, it's such bull, man. It's such bull. But I'm glad that there are initiatives such as this one. You know, this is a creative boycott. Okay, that's great. It's a creative boycott, and it's a good first step. I'm glad that people are taking the initiative. I'm glad that people are exhibiting that bravery. To say that this unimaginably sophisticated multi-billion-dollar propaganda apparatus it's easy to stand against that, especially in an industry like Hollywood. Like, do you guys not remember what happened post October 7? There was a megastar at Creative Artists Agency, which is one of the largest. It's the most successful and the largest agency on the planet. It's the largest Hollywood agency and the biggest Hollywood agency. It's the most famous Hollywood agency. It's them and WME. Okay? I've been rep by both in the past. And let me tell you, CAA and WME are the two top agencies in Hollywood and have been forever. Okay? Well, at least since CAA was created. And basically, there was a top agent at CAA that basically said, like, Israel's doing genocide. This is really messed up. And they tried to fire her. And the only way, the only reason why she wasn't fired was because Tom Cruise had to intervene. It was Aaron Sorkin's own agent. Aaron Sorkin dropped her. All of her clients dropped her. Okay? Tom Cruise, who is basically the guy, right? He is the god of Hollywood at this point. He had to intervene and say, this is not happening. You're out of your mind. That's the only way that she kept her job. They have fired Melissa Barrera and numerous other actors and actresses in that process. Okay? Her name is Maha Dakhil, who I guess is... she's Arab, right? Basically, one of the few Arabs in Hollywood. In any case, the notion that like this is an easy thing to do is ridiculous. If it was, a lot more people would do it. Even at this stage, where it's obvious that you have the people's backing. If you're saying Israel loudly and proudly, okay? Even if the overwhelming majority of the population is on your side, those in positions of power are not. And they are still trying to advocate. They're still trying to basically demand a completely alternative perspective, a completely alternative reality, one where actually moneyed interest is more important than our collective conscience. They are trying to present a totally separate reality in places like Hollywood, in places like DC, where they're like, no, actually, you still can experience tremendous penalties if you speak out against the apartheid state currently doing a genocide, even if every single person recognizes it. Okay? But it is the solidarity that you see from people in positions of power, from people with prominence, that allows others in similar circumstances to find the courage within themselves to also speak out. Okay? That's it. We have the numbers and we have to use them. We have the numbers and we have to use them. There's no other way out of this. Okay? Now, of course, Paramount is saying that because they're like super, super duper pro-Israel, Oracle, Ellison's obviously Larry Ellison just passed Elon Musk to become the world's richest person. He's donated millions to a foreign army, the IDF, and other Israel causes. Elon obviously is also super pro-Israel as well. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Now his equally fanatical pro-Israel son is buying Paramount and CBS for Barry Weiss to run and trying to do the same for CNN. Okay? I'm rarely impressed with celebrity displays of solidarity, not due to suspicions of opportunism or whatnot, but because so often they're painfully timid and hesitant, concealing their political stances with euphemisms, or softening them with disclaimers on both sides of them, or refusing to name the perpetrators. These silly linguistic tricks meant to appease all sides end up rendering well-intentioned gestures hollow and perfunctory. Such reticence does nothing to raise the ceiling and is a complete waste of social capital. In the case of Bardem and Einbinder, however, it wasn't the keffiyeh or the ceasefire pin that were impressive. It was Bardem's full-throated explicit call for commercial and diplomatic blockade and also sanctions on Israel. It was Einbinder's Free Palestine instead of the feeble women, children, etc., i.e., instead of taking the easy route of talking about Gaza as if it's an unfortunate natural disaster, she opted for adopting the slogan of our movement, a slogan rooted in anti-colonial struggle for land and liberation, coupling it with the local struggle against ICE, and later denouncing Israel as an ethno-nationalist state that must be exiled outside of American Jewry. It was the choice to use their few minutes on stage or talking to the press to move beyond the symbolism of the pin and the scarf and into some form of tangible action, albeit limited to their field, vowing to cut ties with those complicit in genocide. That's right. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. The whole the whole notion of like, there's children dying on both sides, like all this stuff, the Bono method, right? That stuff is specifically designed to create symmetry in a situation where there is none. Okay? There is no symmetry. There is no symmetry between the Palestinian resistance and Palestinian humanity and Palestinian existence, which is another form of resistance, versus the apartheid ethno-nationalist state armed with nukes that is currently conducting a genocide. There has never been a symmetry there. And anyone that tries to say, well, Hamas, October 7, or well, it's just really sad that Palestinians are dying, but like Israelis are dying too, like all this those people that engage in this act are actually offering that one at its root, at its most base, they are lying. They are telling a falsehood. They're spreading a falsehood to make it seem as though these are evenly matched actors, right? But also, on top of that, they are laundering the reputation of the apartheid state. They are laundering the war crimes and the genocide that Israel is partaking in. If you want to understand a decent analog to the current Holocaust that Israel is committing upon the Palestinians, look no further than how ridiculous it would seem if people tried to say similar things about Nazi Germany against the Jews. If someone were to make it seem as though there's any symmetry between Jewish partisans and Jews as a whole in Nazi Germany, you would understand. You can, hopefully, that will help you understand why there is no symmetry there. Okay, these are both genocides.